What comes to mind when I say the word ritual? What kind of rituals do you have? Different people have different ideas about rituals, but what we're talking about here today is basically the types of behaviors, types of things that you do on a regular basis. That could be daily basis, maybe weekly basis, monthly basis, whatever the case may be. So, for example, think about your daily ritual of how you start your morning. Maybe you first get out of bed, maybe you stretch, use the restroom, maybe you go straight into the shower, or for some of you, maybe you head to the kitchen and get the coffee going. And you do the same thing every day. Those are your rituals. We have all kinds of rituals in our lives. The important thing about rituals is to make sure that, well, one, that we recognize them, but two, that we know whether or not these rituals help us or hurt us. Many people have rituals around not so healthy habits or plain old bad habits or unhealthy habits. For example, some people have a ritual or habit of smoking after a meal. And if you're a smoker, you know what I'm talking about. Sometimes people have this ritual of having dessert after a meal, for example. Or you may have a ritual of getting home and having a drink of alcohol to take the edge off after a stressful day. That's a ritual. You may have a ritual of going for a run when you're stressed out, or exercising as one of the first things that you do in the morning, a way to start your day. Or you may have a ritual of seeking comfort in food. You may think to yourself, well, these are just things that I do. But when you do these things regularly and repeatedly, they truly become a ritual, especially when they are triggered by certain events or situations or people or events, or when they trigger some things, other behaviors. So arguing about what you call them is less important. What's more important here is to recognize them and to be able to assess them correctly, accurately, and honestly, so that you know whether these things, these rituals, are ones that serve you or ones that don't serve you. And as you know, we talk about stress management here. These videos focus on all kinds of ways that you can help yourself to manage stress more effectively, to achieve better stress management. So when there are things that you do in your life on a regular basis, when you have these go-to rituals, go-to habits, go-to behaviors, whatever you want to call them, make sure that you know which ones help you and which ones don't help you, which ones make you stronger and more resilient, and which ones make you weaker and more likely to fall flat on your face or to fail or to succumb to the stress in your life and its effects more specifically. And once you know this, that's when you can make a decision to change. Just because something is a ritual or habit or a solid behavior doesn't mean that you can't change it. But it starts with identifying that thing, making a decision to change it, and then working on changing it. Look, it's so easy to blame habits or rituals or old behaviors, especially when we don't want to face them or put in the effort on changing them. But your empowerment comes in from, one, knowledge to start with, and then behaviors that take you in the right direction. So don't get hung up on definitions. Don't get hung up on making excuses for yourself. Look, if every time you have a stressful day at work, you come home and you need a drink, you should never need a drink. Or you need a bowl of ice cream, or you need a bag of chips, or you need a pizza, whatever the case may be. You should never have to need these things. Choosing them is one thing, but honestly choosing them. And if you know they're bad for you, you wouldn't be choosing them very often. Unless you're a masochist of some sort, unless your goal is to set yourself up for failure. So let's be honest and let's be real. So what are your rituals? And are they rituals that help you or rituals that don't help you? Think about the simplicity of your morning ritual. If your morning ritual includes things such as showering and brushing your teeth, well, those are things that help you. They help you to stay healthy and clean and socially acceptable. But if you have rituals such as having a donut with your coffee, not a good ritual to have, especially if you're trying to be healthy and strong and resilient. So again, look at your own behaviors, your habits, your rituals. I'm calling them rituals in this video because essentially that's what they are. You can call them whatever you want. The bottom line is, what are they? And are they helping you or are they hurting you? Owe up to them. Take responsibility. And then make a decision to either keep them or to get rid of them. It really is that simple. I'm not saying it's easy, especially if you have to get rid of some rituals that have been around with you for a while. It's like trying to get rid of old friends almost. But if they don't serve you, why keep them? Even if it's hard, you have to make these decisions and follow through. So, what are your rituals? What are the ones that don't serve you? How can you eliminate them? How can you get rid of them? Sometimes, rather than getting rid of them, it may be easier to replace them with some good for you rituals, good for you behaviors. So think about that. What can you do to help yourself? Because after all, at the end of the day, we're all about being healthy, strong, and resilient. And we're all about effectively managing stress and not falling victims to the effects that stress can bring with it. So, make that assessment. Take some time and think about your own rituals and which ones you need to kick out of your life. Go cold turkey. Maybe you use a replacement ritual to make the transition better. You could replace it with a less harmful ritual and then replace that one with a good ritual. It's a process. You don't have to change everything overnight, but you have to change. Remember, I keep telling you, if you don't change anything, nothing changes, right? So if nothing changes, nothing changes. So you're that first part. If you don't change anything, nothing else will change around you. You can't do the same things and expect different results, right? That is, by some opinions, the definition of insanity. So let's not get caught up in that. So what are your habits or your rituals? Which ones do you need to change, stop, replace? And what are you going to do about it? How are you going to do it? Think about that this week. If you'd like to learn more about a comprehensive approach to stress management, check out the link below.